Okay, so this is the Module 6 skills test. It's about specific heat. Specifically, it's about the specific heat of a solid. Now, the way this lab is written, it is very stepwise. It should be pretty easy to follow, but it's written so that you would be doing the lab physically in a lab somewhere as well as doing the simulation. We're not going to be doing it physically. You don't need a hot plate. You don't need a beaker of water. You're going to be doing it strictly doing the simulation. So you don't need all these pieces of equipment. These will all be just simulated as part of the activity. So don't have to worry about step one as far as filling a beaker of water. It's already going to be done for you virtually in the simulation. One thing you will need to do is to determine the mass of an empty cup. And so you can see the cup has been placed on your triple beam balance. It is important that you take a screen grab of your zoomed in view of the triple beam balance. Make sure that's sent to your instructor because your instructor needs to know those values. You'll be reading this, so that's part of the reason why there was a skill builder about how to read a triple beam balance. If you haven't done that, go back and do the triple beam balance skill builder. Know how to read this, report it to your instructor as part of the activity. Step 3, you wind up putting some water in the cup. And again, notice how the balance has changed. You're going to, again, take a screen grab, upload that to your instructor. Step 4, you're going to have a mystery mass that's going to be placed on here. Again, take a screen grab, send that to your instructor. Your instructor will need to know all those mass values. Those are important when you come to the calculation that you'll do later on. Now notice in step 5, you won't be doing this physically, but we're putting our object into boiling water. We're going to let it do it for several minutes. So essentially, we're going to try to bring our object up to boiling temperature. You should know what the boiling temperature is in the Celsius scale at this point. So we're going to get it hot enough that it's essentially at that boiling temperature, and then we're going to use that to be our heat source to add to a cup of just regular water. So as it mentions, after 5 minutes, the object should be at the boiling temperature of water. The object should be around 100 degrees Celsius. Now notice what we're going to do in the next step. We're going to put our object in this cup of water. Now notice there is a temperature probe already in the cup of water. We're going to get the initial temperature of this water that's just been sitting around, and then we're going to see how that temperature of the water changes now that we add our hot object. So in step 8, all we're doing is getting the temperature of the cup of water. In step 9, we're actually going to put the hot object in there with the water, and you'll see how the temperature changes. And from that graph, then you're going to get some important information. You're going to get the change in temperature, what's shown as delta T. There's a funny looking triangle in your questions, let's see, 8, 9, and 10 it looks like, on the activity. That delta stands for difference or change in. And so just follow the instructions in questions 8, 9, and 10. There's a little bit of math involved, a little bit of rearrangement required, but your goal is to find out what the specific heat value is. Let's see, actually in question 8, we need to figure out the heat gained by your water. And in question 9, we're trying to figure out we're trying to figure out the actual heat capacity of your mystery solid. Okay, and the key thing to recognize is that the amount of heat that was given up by your solid has been gained by the water. That's the key insight in order for you to figure out what the specific heat is. Now you can actually check it. You can check your answer in step 10 of the activity. The one thing I will tell you is whatever your answer is from question 9, whatever specific heat you came up with, you'll need to multiply that by 1,000 before submitting it to check yourself because the units are a little bit off. But that's essentially how you get through this activity.